This is the story of a magic mirror, a wicked queen made of ice, and one brave girl who would cross the entire frozen world to save her best friend. Stay till the end, because the way this story ends might surprise you. Long ago, there lived a wicked goblin who built a magical mirror. But this was no ordinary mirror. It twisted everything good into something ugly and made anything bad look even worse. One day, while the goblin was carrying it through the sky, the mirror slipped from his hands and shattered into a million tiny pieces, scattering across the whole world. And here's the scary part. If even one sliver of that glass landed in someone's eye, they would only see the bad in everything. And if a sliver landed in someone's heart, their heart would slowly turn to ice. In a small town, in a cozy little house with a garden of roses, lived two best friends, a boy named Kai and a girl named Gerda. They were inseparable, sharing stories, planting flowers together, and dreaming about summer beneath their window box of red roses. But one winter evening, while Kai was playing outside, something terrible happened. A tiny shard of the broken mirror flew into his eye, and another, smaller piece drifted silently into his heart. At first, Gerda didn't notice anything wrong, but slowly, Kai began to change. He stopped admiring the roses, saying they were ugly and crooked. He mocked the old stories they used to love. He even snapped at Gerda, the one person who had always been kind to him. Gerda's heart ached. "Kai, what's happened to you?" she asked one day, but he only shrugged coldly and walked away. Then, one freezing winter afternoon, Kai tied his sled to a beautiful white sleigh passing through the town square, not realizing who was driving it. The sleigh was driven by the Snow Queen herself, a tall, breathtaking woman made entirely of ice and frost, with eyes as cold and sharp as winter itself. She turned to look at Kai and smiled. In an instant, the sleigh sped off into the night, racing across snowy fields and frozen rivers, carrying Kai far, far away. By the time the village searched the streets, he was already gone. Winter passed, spring came, summer arrived, but Kai never returned. Everyone in the village whispered that he must have died somewhere out in the cold. Everyone except Gerda. She refused to believe it. "I know he's alive," she said, "and I'm going to find him." So Gerda set off alone, with nothing but a small boat, a brave heart, and her love for her best friend. She floated down a river that carried her into an enchanted garden, where an old woman tried to convince her to stay forever, using magic to make her forget Kai. But when Gerda saw a single rose, the same flowers from her own garden, she remembered everything. "I have to keep going," she said, and continued on her journey. As Gerda traveled further north, the world grew colder. She met a clever crow who told her about a prince who looked remarkably like Kai, now living in a palace nearby. Hope filled Gerda's heart. She rushed to the palace. But when she arrived, she realized this prince was kind, gentle, and completely unfamiliar. It wasn't Kai at all. Even though Gerda was disappointed, the princess who lived there saw the bravery and love in Gerda's eyes. She gave her warm clothes, a golden carriage, and servants to help her continue her journey north, toward the land of ice and snow, where the Snow Queen ruled. But the journey was dangerous. As Gerda traveled through a dark forest, robbers ambushed her carriage and took everything she had. Just when all hope seemed lost, a robber girl, rough on the outside but kind underneath, decided to help her. "You're looking for the Snow Queen's palace?" she asked. "I know someone who can take you there." She introduced Gerda to a reindeer named Bay, who had once lived near the Snow Queen's icy kingdom. "I will take you," the reindeer said, "but it is far and it is freezing. Are you ready?" Gerda nodded firmly. "I have to save Kai." Gerda and the reindeer raced across icy plains, through snowstorms so thick she could barely see. Along the way, an old woman gave her warm reindeer skin boots and gloves, but warned her, "The Snow Queen's palace is just ahead. But be careful, child. Many who enter never return." Gerda's hands trembled from the cold, but her heart burned with determination. "I'm not leaving without Kai," she whispered. Finally, after the longest journey of her life, Gerda saw it in the distance. A palace made entirely of swirling snow and glittering ice, sharp and beautiful, glowing under the pale Arctic sky. Gerda walked through enormous halls of ice, her breath freezing in the air. And there, in the center of a vast frozen room, she finally saw him. Kai. He sat alone, surrounded by jagged pieces of ice, trying to arrange them into shapes, his face pale and expressionless. The Snow Queen had told him that if he could spell out a certain word using the ice, she would set him free. But his heart, frozen by the mirror's curse, felt nothing. Not joy, not sadness, not even the cold. Kai! Gerda cried, running toward him. It's me, Gerda! He looked up slowly, his eyes empty and distant. Gerda? He murmured as if trying to remember a dream. Gerda didn't hesitate. She threw her arms around him and began to cry. Warm, real tears that fell onto his chest, right where the icy shard had settled in his heart. And something extraordinary happened. The warmth of her tears melted the frozen splinter inside him. Kai's body trembled, and suddenly he broke down crying too, tears he hadn't been able to feel in months. The icy shard dissolved completely, and with it, the curse shattered. Gerda, Kai whispered, his voice cracking with emotion. I remember everything now. I'm so sorry. They held each other tightly as the cold around them seemed to fade away. When the Snow Queen returned and saw that her icy curse had been broken by something as simple and as powerful as love and tears, she said nothing. She simply allowed them to leave. Together, Gerda and Kai began the long journey home, retracing every step, past the reindeer, past the robber girl, past the kind princess, until finally they saw their own village in the distance. Their garden was still blooming with roses, exactly as they remembered it. As they sat together among the flowers, Kai turned to Gerda and said, You crossed the whole frozen world to save me. Gerda smiled. Of course I did. That's what best friends do. And from that day on, no matter how cold the winters became, their friendship remained the warmest thing in the entire village. True love and friendship can melt even the coldest heart.